foster care was put in place simply to be a place where these parents that were not doing well, that were having these neglectful behaviors, these abusive tendencies, could go get help and come back and get your children. It wasn't supposed to be something where you drop your child off because exactly, and it wasn't about the government, if you will, coming in to just take your children away permanently. That wasn't the design of foster care. It was simply so that you could get back on your feet, so that you can go get the training that you needed, get the education that you needed to get your children back, to take care of your children. But ultimately, of course, it's become something completely different now.
Yeah, it's kind of like anything else that's given, we tend to, what they say?
If you don't know the use of something, you
kind of abuse the system, and that's exactly what's happened.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, we're going to go to break, and
wow, that's awesome.
yeah, we're going to go to break, and we hope that you are enjoying our segment for today entitled "What About the Children?" Our guest today is Miss Shanetta Henry. Continue to listen in and call in and let us know how you're enjoying the show. If you want to share your story with us, the number is 239-332-1350. So, I'm excited to get back. You ready, Miss Shanetta?
I'm ready.
Yes. Today we are talking about what about the children. And these are our children that are in foster care, and there are so many ways that they could have ended up in foster care. But we just want to talk to Miss Shanetta today about prevention, intervention, and sustaining. Okay, so we're going to tackle prevention first. What can we do to prevent our children from ending up, in the system?
As far as prevention is concerned, I think that first and foremost, we have to get back to the body of Christ. We have to get back to kingdom. Right now, we've gotten so far away from the village raising the child, and we're allowing the system to raise the child. And if we could get back to that village that looks out for that child, that whose behavior is changing or who's starting to pull away from their normal activities, if we actually start paying attention to the children in the community, paying attention to our neighbors' children. And what has happened is we've gotten so afraid of each other because of the world that we live in. We're so afraid of Mr. Tom living next door because we don't know what his true intentions are. Or you find us as parents constantly looking on the internet to see which assailant is living next to us.
That's the truth.
We're so afraid that we're losing our children in the process. If we could get back to, once we see children that that do have these behavior changes and are in school, all of a sudden now their grades are dropping. That's a number one sign something is going on. But we don't have a relationship with the children in the community, so we don't see these things. And then the teachers see them, and the teachers contact the guidance counselor, and the guidance counselor contact DCF. But the community has been left out of it. The village, the church has been left out of it. And the way that we can prevent this is if we can open our eyes and open our hearts to not only our church members or those that are sitting in the pew next to us, but open our eyes up to those who live next to us. Open our hearts up in our homes. Invite the children to come over like they used to do. I remember and Lily Dillies. Okay, where are the Lily Dillies anymore?
I know I'm older than you. 3 hours.
We grew up on that, but it was okay. There was a time it was okay to go to the neighbor's house and you could go and play with the kids next door. Well, we don't allow that anymore. But if we could allow the church to step outside the four walls and actually start looking at the children and the young women that are mothers today, they don't know.
They are clueless.
Have you ever seen? I mean, I see it all the time. We went to a carnival, or maybe it was a fair, but I see these young mothers out there. The babies are not even a month old, and the babies are at the carnival. Because there's no mothers in place to teach them. Exactly. It has to start in the kingdom. It has to start in the church in order for these young women to know what they need to be doing. And yes, they're going to have an attitude when you tell them, but it's okay. Tell them anyways because they need to know.
That seed in them. They might have an attitude, but when they walk away, they're going to be looking, saying, maybe I shouldn't have my baby out here.
Absolutely. And so I think that's one of the biggest things that we can do as as being kingdom-minded to prevent our children, losing our children to the system, if you will, is if we can begin to open our hearts in the church. If we can begin to look beyond, who the next preacher is or who's singing or praise and worship,
Who has on the next outfit.
Exactly, exactly. Right. And that's where I believe we can lay the foundation for prevention.
Wow.
I think that's awesome.
And I have to admit, I am guilty of, with my daughter, my boys, they were a little more free because the world wasn't as horrible as it is, today. That allowed them to go out more and maybe go to the neighbor's house.
Right,
but with my daughter, when she was like, oh, well, can I go to so-and-so's house? I am quick to say, let her come over here.
Exactly.
Where's her mom? Let me talk to her mom. She can come over here because I feel like I can supervise her. And a lot of that stems from what we talked about last week.
Right.
That comes from me, having been molested before.
Right.
And I just want to cover her. So I feel like, not only that, but I know that I'm providing a safe haven for that child or other children that may be coming over as well. Right. So because I'm experiencing my own past and because I know that it has happened to her, my daughter already as well, in me thinking that I'm covering her as best I can, then I definitely don't want it to happen again. Right. So, and I'm also guilty as far as the children, as far as the neighborhood is concerned, I guess because they're just so used to her being with me or being in the house that I really don't have the issue of really dealing with the kids in the neighborhood, because outside of her going to the bus stop, she doesn't go and they don't come.
Right.
It's like the kids that she deals with are kids that we've known, that live in a different neighborhood, or the kids at church.
Right. Well, I think what you said, though, I mean, and I can appreciate you're feeling guilty, but at the same time, I believe that your home can be that safe haven.
Right.
You can be the one that the kids in the community go to. We're going to Miss Jamisha's house and get to know their parents, because their parents will feel safe with you. Once they begin to know your spirit, they'll feel safe with you. And then at least you'll know that those kids in the community, you'll have eyes on them, and then you can even start a trend, and I'm saying you, but we can start that type of trend so that in the communities in which we live, we can have a place where our children can go and feel safe and we can feel comfortable. But why not start with us? Why not open our doors? Why not, begin to network and connect with the community? Because we are the light of the world. We are the ones that are supposed to be reaching these children, these mothers that don't know what to do, these fathers that don't want to stay home with their children, these fathers that get frustrated and want to run to the street corner or run to their friends or go hang out. We need to be the ones that is actually infecting the community with our love. We need to start that.
I like that. Infecting.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. Infection doesn't always have to be bad.
And, I'm taking in the nuggets because I honestly probably would be guilty at this point too, because again I've been molested as well, and I'm just like, I don't trust nobody. My baby ain't going nowhere. When I do have one, it's gonna be on. I already know that. But just getting the education on the front end and knowing that just even doing that, that's not even the key necessarily, because it can still happen, because you're not everywhere that they're gonna be. So just taking in the information. I get nuggets every week. I get nuggets.
And again, like I said before, this is not chicken nuggets. So I really see, now you got my mind floating now. Now I can see myself doing the block party and in the garage and stuff, and and all that other stuff. Because when you're saying that, that also is taking me back to childhood, because our house was it. Everybody was always, everybody called my mom. She always overcooked. She had things for us to do. She'd load the kids up, other people's kids, take us to the beach. We were in the backyard playing kickball, and my house was it. And it's that it has been lost. It really has. It has. But when you're saying that, I'm going back to my childhood and seeing, not painting a picture. I lived that. Playing kickball in the street in front, in front of the house, and and all that stuff. And all the parents were comfortable because they knew how my mom was. They knew, they knew that she would feed the kids and everything else.
Right. I think what Angela said is key too. She said, I don't trust anybody else, but we trust ourselves. We know ourselves. We know what's going to happen in our house. We know what's not going to happen in our homes. And because of those things, once we begin to set that example in the community and make people feel comfortable with us, knowing what we're going to tolerate and not going to tolerate, they'll feel more comfortable. We can absolutely raise a standard, and we can set a trend, and through all, you know, we'll be winning souls at the same time, you know, because when they're coming in your house, they're going to hear that gospel music playing. You know, they're going to, exactly. And those are seeds.
The worship arena.
Absolutely. We need to start planting the seeds in the children while they're young, and they need to get it from every direction, you know, not just church, not just when they go into the four walls, because we have done the four walls, like, you know, we have overdone it. Exactly. So it's time to step outside, go outside the front door of the church and do something.
Can you guys hear her passion?
Yes.
Oh my God, I just, Yes, okay. Well, we kind of did touch on the prevention and intervention as well, because you're intervening by being that one in the neighborhood that's willing to make that difference and be proactive and aggressive in doing it as well. Now, what about sustaining those children that they're already in the system?
The kids that are already in the system.
Or sustaining them at home.
At home.
Kind of both. Let's deal with both. Let's deal with the ones that may be on the brink of going. How do we keep them, if not with the parent, at least, you know, with the family? Speak to those family members that may not have even given any real thought to it, but just automatically, no, I don't want to deal with those kids. You know what I mean? Talk to them about how serious it is for them not to be disconnected from their biological, you know, mom and dad, but to also know that you are my cousin, know that you are my auntie, you are my uncle, but you don't want me. On top of them not wanting me. Speak to that situation first.
Now, you just gave me a lot of situations to speak to. Okay. So let me just pick one. As far as sustaining is concerned, when you think about a child that is at the brink of being placed into foster care, you have a child at home that perhaps mom and dad have recently been divorced. There's stress in the house. There's abuse in the house, or what have you. And you do have other family members, but nobody really wants to deal with it. Nobody really wants to be a part of it. It is so important for the children that are in these situations to know that they have a support system. That support system, number one, should be family. First and foremost, before it's friends, before it's teachers, it should be family. You should be able to, you should have such a relationship with your nieces and your nephews and your cousins that they're able to call you. That before they have to go into the system to a stranger's house who might hurt them, you know, they can come to you and you be that foster home. You be that temporary assistance until the family can get their lives together. And this is a way that we can eliminate the system being involved. If we pull together, stop saying you love me and show me. You know, stop telling me, you know, everything is going to be all right, and see me through everything. You know, see me through the end of it being okay. Don't just sit down and talk to me one day and then after that I don't see you no more. You know, don't tell me I can call you in the midnight hour. You check your caller ID when I'm calling you and pick up the phone. We have a problem. But if we can connect to each other, to the family first, if we can connect there, then we'll be able to sustain our children and keep them out of the system. Because the truth of the matter is, every single one of us sitting at this table, every single one of us, every single person that's listening to this broadcast, we all have problems. We have issues. Every one of us has an issue. And the bottom line is, we need each other. But my God, if I can't go to my family first, you know, if you're going to throw me out, if you, as a child, if you're going to put me in a situation where I have to go to a foster home before I can come to your home, there's an issue. You have an issue. And we need to deal with those issues. But it's the love that we're to have one for the other that's going to sustain us. That's going to sustain the children. And as far as the children that are already in the system, those children that have already been placed in foster homes, some have been in the system 14, 15 years, unfortunately. But I think the bottom line is this, you know, I see so many children, I work with so many children that have been in the system, and literally every child, I don't care how old they are, I don't care what the situation is, every child, once they are in the system, once they have to leave the parents' home and get in that car and drive to somebody else's house, it is trauma. Every single child experiences trauma when they're removed from their parents, when they're removed from the home that they grew up in, removed from those familiar walls, that familiar scent, you know, that teddy bear that they used to sleep with, that bathtub that they take. They're traumatized when they're taken out of that. Definitely. And I think as a church, as a kingdom, we have to pull together, and even if we form a group, and this is something I've absolutely never seen in a church, where we just start to sponsor these foster kids. Why not just you know, pick a kid and just, you know, they're in foster care because you talk about them. Let's be real. You know, you know what their mama did because you're talking about them on the phone. So figure out how to get in touch with that child, mentor that child, send them a care basket. You know.